This segment of Open Up is brought to you in part by Up Apr, the locally owned company that has everything you need for lush, weed-free gardens and lawns, from the smallest backyards to the property of the biggest businesses, and with top quality equipment and products better than the big chains, and they service what they sell. Located on Rosedale Highway, just east of Callaway, across from the promenade. Be loyal, buy local, upaprweed.com. Boy, and when you buy local, that money stays right here in our community, supporting families and buying cars and building homes and sponsoring Little League teams and things like that. Buy at the big chains, and the money goes off to some headquarters far off in some other city. So be local, be loyal, buy local.
Yes.
You're about to meet a beautiful young woman who's tackling a very important cause in our society. Tina, take it away.
Yes, Don. Don, we're welcoming back, when she was with us before, she was Miss Bay Counties, and now she's Miss Orange County, and we're talking about Kaylin Simonson.
Yes.
Kaylin, welcome.
Thank you very much for
Welcome
having
back
me.
to Open Up. Now,
you.
I understand you will be competing for the title of Miss California in June.
Yes, so I'll be competing for Miss California, the state preliminary, to Miss America in June as Miss Orange County. But I was born and raised in Bakersfield, graduated from Centennial High School, so I have local roots.
Oh, okay, great. Now, describe to us your involvement with the Miss America organization as well as your platform.
Okay. So, I've been involved with the Miss America organization for the last 5 years, currently as Miss Orange County. So I'll be competing for Miss California in June, as we said. But the Miss America organization is the largest scholarship provider for young women ages 17 through 24 in the entire country. And I've been fortunate enough to have received over $12,000 in scholarships. So I graduated from UCLA with that money, and that was an amazing experience. And then in addition to that, the Miss California, Miss America organization really tries to promote service for the contestants. And so my service project that I've been promoting is Speak Up, Giving a Voice to Victims of Sexual Assault. So that's what I've been able to do. But if you are interested in learning more about Miss California, follow them on Instagram and Twitter at MissCA.org or go to their website.
Do you want to tell us more about what you're currently doing
Yes.
to promote
of
your
course.
platform?
So what I'm currently doing is I am a speaker with the RAIN Speakers Bureau. So that's the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. And so they have been able to give me really a lot of media opportunities. So recently I did a YouTube video where I spoke with other survivors about what we can do, report, share, and heal. And then I've also been interviewed for Huffington Post. And then most recently, I'm actually the national spokesperson for Bling Sting, which is a really awesome rhinestone pepper spray. And they have given me the opportunity to go throughout the entire state of California and speak to sororities. So I've been going to universities and speaking to groups of college-age women because sexual assault really affects them the most. 1 in 4 college-age women will be sexually assaulted.
You know, Caitlin, those figures are just shocking. I mean, it's pervasive, shockingly pervasive throughout the society, but to see that happening on campus, where you think these beautiful buildings, beautiful lawns, beautiful places, and yet very dangerous for young women. To talk about how much danger there is on our campuses these days.
Yeah, so college campuses have this epidemic more than any other institution specifically, and I actually watched this documentary recently called The Hunting Ground, and it talks about the sexual assault epidemic on college campuses. And if something doesn't change, if colleges don't specifically address this problem, next year over 100,000 people will be sexually assaulted on college campuses alone. So it really is a big problem. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it is such an underreported crime as well. Only 3 to 5% of sexual assaults on college campuses are reported in the first place. So I'm a survivor, and what I'm able to do is I'm able to talk about my story and how I reported it, and hopefully give a little bit more light to this situation.
You're a survivor of a sexual assault crime.
Yes.
What's the difference between a survivor and a victim?
So my platform is Speak Up, Giving a Voice to Victims of Sexual Assault. And I really think that victims don't necessarily have their voice or haven't found it in a way. And so I'm, of course, speaking and a survivor in that way. But rape is not about sex. It's about power. Victims feel like they have lost their power. And so one of the only ways that they can really take back that power is to speak up, empower themselves, whether they're talking to a friend, a counselor, or they're sharing their story nationwide. It's really important to empower themselves, not let the actions of another person affect the person they want to become. And that's how they become a survivor.
What happened to the person who assaulted you?
So currently, I immediately reported my sexual assault within an hour of it happening. And then the story surrounding the assault was on the front page of the Los Angeles Times and the Daily Bruin, the UCLA newspaper. And 2 other girls who he had sexually assaulted came forward after that, but they had happened before me. Okay. So, of course, at first I was extremely upset because I realized that if someone had said something sooner, then this might have not continued to happen. But because I said something, this won't happen to girl 4, 5, or 6. He is currently in prison, and he was expelled from all UCs for the rest of his life. So I hope that something that I did, speaking up, even though it was extremely hard, has ultimately ended his chain of violence.
Can we mark a point where this became an epidemic? When I was in my university years, I don't recall this as being a problem. Maybe I was just blind to it, but was there a point where this began to be a problem when it wasn't a problem before?
I think it has always been an epidemic, and it is on all college campuses, and it's I guess, less reported on other college campuses, or campuses just ignore the problem to begin with, but it's always there. Even if it's a private institution, even if it's an all-girls school, it's always a problem. So I think it always has been. I think more than ever now, it's become a social issue because President Obama has recently, he's started his It's On Us campaign, and we're trying to create an environment where society is more supportive of survivors. So I think it's, I guess, more prominent now ever than it has been before.
When you're out speaking, do you have young women come to you and just share confidentially, and what do you advise them as they do that?
Yes, so I have had, it has really been extremely impactful to be able to see, I guess, people change and their perceptions change. So I've had people come up to me, private message me on Facebook, and I've talked to over 2,000 college-aged women so far, and I hope to continue doing that and maybe expand to fraternities. But I don't know, it's just, I've been able to give advice that whenever I do talk to sororities, I talk about ways to reduce the risk, what to do if a sexual assault does occur to them in the future or occur to a friend, and then specifically I talk to victims that are silent amongst them and say, this is how I reported, and you can report because as a woman, you need to stop this from happening to another woman by the same person that did it to you.
And who's talking to the fraternities? Who's talking to the men? I mean, this is where the problem is. So how are they addressed and dealt with?
I don't think that they're necessarily addressed right now, and so I think as Miss Orange County or as Miss California, it would be amazing to go into fraternities and really talk about this issue because statistically speaking, it's actually more of a men's issue than it is a women's issue.
Yes.
So 90% of sexual assault victims are women, and 99% of those perpetrators are male. And then 10% of victims that are men, those perpetrators are 96% male. So it's more actually a larger men's issue because we have a small portion of male victims and then most of the perpetrators are male. So I think going into fraternities and talking specifically about, yes, these are the resources if you have been a victim, but these are what you need to know. This is what you need to know about consent and just about respecting women.
Wouldn't it be something, I'm sorry,
That's
but,
okay,
but
Dawn.
wouldn't it be something if one fraternity would actually take the lead in this? I'm thinking of my own fraternity. I won't name it here, but has always been a leader on campus. And if they took this issue to address other fraternities and they became a leader, wouldn't that be a noble thing for a fraternity to do? I'm imagining.
Yes, I think that would be extremely noble because even if no one has ever been affected by, men in a fraternity have never been affected by a sexual assault, they know women. It could happen to their girlfriend, their mother, their daughters in the future, sisters, and so even if they have not been personally impacted, they know someone that has been.
Okay, baby, I just want to connect you with my fraternity, and let's see if we can get something rolling out here. All right.
That would be amazing.
Okay, did you have a lot of counseling, or after the crime?
I haven't received a whole lot of counseling, but I think most of my therapy has really been in inspiring others and advocating for others. And so I think that is kind of how I've been able to make this terribly negative situation into something extremely positive.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what can the rest of the community do about
Yes,
this?
so the National Sexual Assault Hotline is great for people who have, been assaulted and are looking for resources specifically. But I think as society, what we need to do is what President Obama is really encouraging us. It's on all of us to create an environment where survivors feel supported and believed. A lot of times, if a survivor comes forward, they're really nervous because of the negative media attention that victims and survivors face more often than their assailant does. And so creating that environment is extremely important. But if you are a victim who has remained silent, speaking up and saying something is one of the most important things you can do to lower the statistics, because the typical college-age serial rapist will rape 6 times before he is first told on. So they continue to perpetuate the problem, and I think just understanding and saying something as a woman to prevent this from happening to other people is one of the most important things we can do.
Yeah.
When is the pageant? June what?
June 27th. So
June
it'll be live
27th.
webcasted. Yeah, so everyone can check
Live
that out on
webcast.
misscalifornia.org.
Okay, and we see you here on the screen.
Oh,
Kaylin
yes.
Simonson, Instagram and Twitter.
Yes,
at
follow me.
Kaylin Simonson. And that's SIMONSON. Or misscalifornia.org or at missca.org.
Yes.
Follow
Thank you so much.
Kaylin.
Thank you.
We want to have her back as Miss California.
You bet. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Yep,
Kaylin.
hopefully. Thank you very much.
so much.
When we come back, we've got someone who's been in the news business so many years and so many stories to tell about the stories here in Bakersfield. We'll be right back.